Hello and welcome along, everybody. This is Andy Cummins from BetHub with my thoughts on day one of the Cheltenham Festival. Remember, if you're enjoying what you're seeing here and enjoying this content, please hit the like and subscribe button as well as the bell icon to get notified whenever a video from BetHub goes live. So, I am here to preview day one of the Cheltenham Festival, and to start off, we have the Supreme Novices Hurdle at 20 past 1. This is a hurly-burly 2 mile novice grade 1 event, and the quality is a little bit down on recent years, or initially that's what it looks like. And heading to market is Willie Mullins's Appreciated at around 6 to 4. Now, in a normal year, Appreciated would probably be into Ballymore, and last year's champion bumper winner Fernie Hollow would be the horse that would be in here. Seeing as Fernie Hollow was the winner of the champion bumper, beating Appreciated, and the fact that Appreciated ran in 2.5 mile bumpers, it made one think that Appreciated might want to trip or may potentially be a stare. That has not been the case this year. He's a dual grade 1 winner over 2 miles, beating Henry de Bromhead's Irascribble and then Ballyadam on his next start at the Dublin Racing Festival by 9 lengths and 2.5 lengths respectively. Now, Ballyadam was well behind at Christmas time due to a bug that was going around the Gordon Elliott yard, and it did affect quite a few of his horses, especially at Leopardstown. Ballyadam was a sufferer of this, but he ran much more to form on his second start. Now, Appreciated did get an easier time of things on the front end, and Paul Townend did give him a very, very good ride at Leopardstown, which enabled Appreciated to get first run on Ballyadam. And even if he didn't, he Appreciated probably would have won the race anyway. Now, Ballyadam has also changed stables to the Henry de Bromhead yard. Obviously, Gordon Elliott being in the news for all the wrong reasons in recent times has meant that Cheveley Park have sent their horses away. And that's with Ballyadam and his first time going to Cheltenham, changing yards and then going to Cheltenham, it's not necessarily the most ideal prep. One would have to agree. And, Appreciated comes here off the back of 2 grade 1 wins, and he's very likely going to be hard to beat. But it does stick in the back of your head that Willie Mullins did at one stage run this horse in a 2.5 mile bumper, and he stuck to 2 miles. The horse has been good enough to stick to 2 miles. And maybe it's just that Willie Mullins had no other 2 milers when Fernie Hollow went by the wayside. But this is the position that we are in. And even if he is winning grade 1s over 2 miles, I'm not convinced about the Irish novices, especially. Ballyadam just doesn't jump well enough. And Irascribble, he would be probably more suited to a county hurdle, even though he is probably going to run here. Most likely, maybe this is harsh, but he will most likely be making up the numbers. Taking on Appreciated is going to be Soaring Glory and Metier. They'll be the home side's two big horses. So Soaring Glory, he won the Betfair Hurdle last time off a mark of 133. And this horse is a really strong traveller. He clearly improved for the good ground. Horses that come from the Betfair Hurdle, they do well, but they don't necessarily win this particular race. We've had Kalashnikov off 141, Al Dancer off, I believe, 141 as well, Ballyandy off 135, and Get Me Out of Here off 135, and even My Tenter Yours, who in any other year probably would have won the Supreme, but 149. They were all beaten. Now, 3 of them were placed. So, any each way thieves might be looking at Soaring Glory, and especially think that this is a weaker year. And even though horses have won the Betfair Hurdle off higher marks than Soaring Glory did, you could argue that maybe if those horses were novices in this respective year, they might have had the ability to win this race. Soaring Glory, I still think, is a little bit below that type of class, but you would have to give him a chance. But I'd say he's best watched here, and he might even prefer a track like Aintree. But you could see him really travelling exceptionally smoothly behind the leaders coming down the hill, and that's what followers of Soaring Glory will want to see. But I think he would be suited to a slightly more conventional track. Maybe that's unfair, maybe it's not, but we will find out. Metier for Harry Fry, for the Harry Fry team, was bought from the Andrew Slattery yard in Ireland. And this horse has been an absolute revelation over hurdles. He was very smart on the flat. And all his best form, or basically all his hurdles forms, came on soft to heavy ground. So he will have to prove himself on the spring ground. He beat Sheikh Parry last time out in the Tallworth hurdle at Sandown in a really impressive performance where he just galloped the whole field into submission, and it was eye-catching, and it would make it stand up and take note. But it's not even necessarily that nothing has came out of the race since. It's just more that we have to be worried about him on the soft ground, even though he's a flatbred. He's by Master Crossman, who is starting to, national hunt breeders are starting to turn their mares towards him, and he is out of an authorised mare, and obviously authorised, who was recently, well, in the last 2 years, sold to Turkey. He's produced the likes of Goshen, Nichols Canyon, and a certain horse called Tiger Roll. So he does have, he does have the pedigree to kind of take to the national hunt game, and he has. But the question still bears mind: does he want this particular 2 miles on ground that's, albeit it's going to be the softest on day one, it's not necessarily going to be as soft as what he's encountered, and it is a whole new test for Metier, so you would have to bear that in mind. Kescon Risk is a horse from the Joseph O'Brien yard. Now, he was a long way behind Appreciated at Christmas at Leopardstown, but he is a very, very inexperienced horse, and it was, I believe, only a second run over hurdles. He was a very notable drifter in the market that day, and if you take the expectations according to the market and put it in context of the run, it was an eye-catching run, and it was a respectful run. I don't think he'd be reversing the form and Appreciate at this point in time, but he is around a 25-1 shot, and like the Supreme can throw up results, and especially in a year where anything can kind of happen, especially behind the favourite, he is a horse that you might want to consider having on side. Another one, and this would be my each way fancy of the race. I quite fancy this horse from the Nigel Twist and Davis yard, is Gowl Road. Now, Gowl Road has came on leaps and bounds since his first ever race course start. He did bump into Bear Gills, who is quite well fancied for the Ballymore and unbeaten on his first start. And he was beaten by Paul Nichols's a decent juvenile good ball. He has won twice subsequently, and he actually reversed the form of good ball, giving him weight. So what this shows me is Gowl Road is progressing, and it's through the form with good ball, you can clearly see that this is a horse going the right way. Now, Gowl Road is rated 137, so it would stick in the back of my mind that he could well end up in the county hurdle, and he would probably be a well handicapped horse. But there is only one Supreme Novices hurdle for Gowl Road, since he is not going to be a novice next year. He's already won. So with that said, at 25-1 with a pace to aim at, we don't quite know how good this horse is going to be. He will need to improve, a stone to get involved, but who knows? He's only 5. He's on an upward curve. He's won his last 2. There's not a lot of strength and depth to this particular race, especially at the top of the market. I'm happy to take on Appreciated. I'm happy to take on Metier. Like Soaring Glory, again, I'm happy enough to take him on, especially at this track. Ballyadam, he needs to jump better, and he's moved yards. I'm not really too afraid of him either. So Gowl Road would definitely be my idea of the each way play here, especially at 25-1. And I wouldn't even say back him now. I would wait till the day. I think you could get 33s, possibly 40s on the day. And any exchange players as well. The win market on Betfair, even the each way market, that's where you would be, that's in the long term, that's where you make your money. And, you could even half your stake and back them there, and you'd probably make more money. So that would be my play into this race. One more horse I do just want to mention, again from the Willie Mullins yard, is MC Muldoon. This is an ex-Peter Chapel Hyam horse who kind of has a mind of his own. He has his own idea about going about things. He refused to race on 2 separate occasions for Peter Chapel Hyam, and he does need some encouraging along, and he does wear a hood, so he could be considered a bit of a psychopath, but at the same time, he definitely has an engine, And I could see if Willie Mullins decides to stick him on the boat and run him here, he could be the type of horse that you could just ride cold out the back, and he might just come through beating horses, and he might like that. And if they go a furious enough gallop to not give MC Muldoon the idea of misbehaving, he could be a horse that actually latches onto these and goes way better than anybody's expected. Now, admittedly, his maiden hurdle win, his form has been knocked a little bit, and he would have to improve an astronomical amount. But this is a horse that was rated 96 on the flat, and he hasn't done anything to me over. He hasn't done anything for me over hurdles to suggest that he can't at least bag a decent handicap. And this is a horse that's 66 to 1, and if he's showing any sort of upside in a race as weak looking as the Supreme Novices Hurdle, he is just worth taking a flyer. Again, exchange players just, you'll be getting a couple hundred on like 200, 300, possibly at the off on this particular horse. I don't see him being backed. He's, as I said, a throwaway 66 to 1 shot. I would be taking Gell Road and MC Muldoon against the field here, both each way. You'll probably get 4 places on the day with traditional bookmakers. You'll get much bigger prices on the exchange market. Appreciate It, admittedly, would be the most likely winner of the race solely on his 2 mile grade 1 form. But you just have to remember that if Fernie Hollow didn't get hurt, there's no way Appreciate It is here in this race. And I really, as I said, I'm not convinced on the Irish novices, especially at 2 miles. I would actually think that Bob Ollinger, if he came back to this trip, would win this race with his eyes closed. And I think he'd have a bit of trouble winning the Ballymore. That's how kind of thin I feel this 2 mile division is. So with that said, I would be taking Gell Road at 25s and MC Muldoon at 66 to 1 to both run big races in the Supreme Novices Hurdle.